Hello. Hi, I'm Morgan Swank. I'm the Business Development Manager here at RCS. If you haven't attended one of our webinars before, RCS, we're a full service IT managed service provider offering IT, cybersecurity solutions. We're based out of New York and Atlanta. I said I'm the business development manager. So this is my first webinar here. I'm very excited to host it. Today we have a wonderful panel full of women, the Advancing Together Women's Panel on Business and Tech. We have four really amazing women with great stories. They have a lot to share about their time within business and tech and their take on the community, diversity, inclusion in the workplace. So I'm really excited to have them here. And we can go ahead and bring them on one by one. And once we do that, we'll open up for discussion. Afterwards, there will be a Q&A. If you have any questions, you can submit them here or on our Facebook Live. You can join into the conversation. So either way, all questions are not barred. Whatever you want to ask, please feel free. But let's go ahead and bring in our first speaker.
Hey, Morgan.
Hello, Esther. You say a little bit about yourself, just give your little intro, and then we'll
Sure.
everyone.
Yeah, extra happy to be back here. Some of you may know I used to work with RCS. I was lucky enough to be with RCS for almost a decade. So obviously big fans, and thank you so much for hosting. Currently, I work with an IT company on the software line of business side of things, where the company is called Net at Work. I'm a senior partner success manager here, working with our MSP partners such as RCS on everything line of business.
Awesome.
Hey.
Hey. It's like a family reunion.
I know. So my name is Chloe Beck. I'm an account manager here at RCS, which Morgan mentioned was a managed IT service provider. I work with Morgan. I've worked with Esther before. She was actually the one that brought me on here at RCS like 6 years ago now. So I've done a couple different roles here at this company, and I feel like I have a lot of knowledge on being a woman in a tech industry. So yeah, I'm really excited for today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yael Sasanov. I'm the sales manager at Gray Matter Networks. It's an IT company, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Femmes in STEM, featuring women entrepreneurs in the science, tech, engineering, and math fields. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much, Morgan. And yeah, looking forward.
Oh, hi, Morgan. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you all today. My name is Denise Oakland. I work for Bedrock Management Services. We're a real estate development and management company based out of Detroit, Michigan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for this conversation since we all do very different things in very different places. So I'm so excited to hear what you all have to say. I wanted to start and open up how you got to this position where you are. We all do very different things, even if it's within that umbrella of business, of tech, business being like, the generic word, but anyone can start. I'd love to hear kind of about your trajectory to get to this point. I'll open it. Esther, since you're my first person on screen, I'll start with you.
Oh, no pressure. Sure. So, well, I got to RCS through an ad on Craigslist, actually. Many years ago, but I remember vividly that journey because I had worked in a bunch of different industries at a young age already. And I was like already burnt out because I had some less than positive culture and such experiences. And so one of the things that attracted me to the job at RCS back then was there were a lot of description about the type of culture and person they were looking for. And what I loved was that there was so much asked, but it was much more around the culture and less around the years of experience. And I felt that fit what I was looking for and what I hoped to bring. So I could tell that they were just from the job description that they were looking for a type of person. So obviously that was, over 10 years ago, which is crazy to think. And Chloe, I feel like I've worked with you for so much longer than that. But that's something that stood out. And before that, I actually, like I said, I worked in many different industries and I spent a lot of time in the nonprofit world and I studied social work for grad school. And I think the first thing that I would say is, I wasn't looking for a job in tech and I think it kind of found me and I'm so grateful and blessed that it happened that way. But I think the fact that I was open to something that maybe I hadn't necessarily seen as a job that I was looking for at the time led me to so many places that I can now attribute to that. So that's the first thing I would say, is just be open and have an idea, but also be open to things kind of happening as they're meant to, because you never know what great, opportunities are in store, and you just have to be open to them and say yes. So.
I can kind of jump off there. Esther was actually the one that hired me for an internship. I was in college. My degree's in communications. I was not interested or looking for anything in technology. I was kind of looking for a marketing position, so I applied to an internship through my school with Esther for a marketing position at RCS. And I remember the interview and there being two other guys in this group interview, and I left and I was like, I'm not getting that. Kind of just felt so low of myself already, like being the only woman. And I ended up getting it, and I've been with RCS for 6 years now through different positions. So kind of getting your foot in the door, and also kind of what Esther was saying, not expecting anything, like kind of letting life and career kind of take you where it wants it to go, and just doing your best every day. And I was lucky enough to meet everyone at RCS and get to do so many different roles now. So it's been really awesome.
Denise, do you want to go next since you're next on my screen?
Yes. So very much like Esther, with the mindset that this career field chose me more than I chose it. I actually started my career with the Air Force, go Air Force, and they told me what I was doing. And I must enjoy it, because here I am 2 decades later, still working in technology. Again, I've been with Bedrock Management Services for about 3 years, but I've been under our family of company umbrella for 18 years this October, just moving between different roles. Thank you. Roles and responsibilities, along with promotions as I progress in my career path. And that brought me to Bedrock Detroit, where I am today.
Awesome. So I guess I'm next.
You're next.
Funny story. I actually found my current job as sales manager at Gray Matter Networks through Esther, who happens to be a part of my community. So that's very cool. I also have, my background is in real estate and marketing. I have experience as a content writer in Israel. I actually, was hired for example, at Wix many years ago, as part of some internal company projects. So throughout the years, my background ranges from being a content writer to working in sales to, working in real estate and hospitality. So it's very diverse. And Femmes in STEM just came as inspiration through, which, I'll get into it later, through my sister's journey, studying as a computer science major now at Tufts University. So I'll jump into that later. But
yeah, I'm very excited for you to talk about Femmes in STEM. I'm so pleased, but we'll get to that soon. One of the next questions that I wanted to put up there actually stems, and I should be transparent, Esther also got me this job here. She interviewed me, she's talking about the culture. So Esther is that person for everyone. But in that, I guess community is really, really important, not only for, women in any business setting. And Esther, you mentioned culture of a business being really important to you for like how you got into what you're doing and where you've gone from there. And I think that's important to kind of talk about as women in business. If I ask my husband like how he jumps from one job to another, he stayed in his industry forever. But he's like, oh, I'll just ask for more money. Women don't really do that. We don't ask for money that we think that we're worth a lot of the time. So when we jump into a new place, it's because we like the people, the community, the culture. So I'd love to hear how that has transposed for you all within this workplace as well. If you continue to be like, oh yeah, I'll get this client. I want to work with this company because I really value their culture and I really value the people they bring to the table versus like, how can I make the most profit? And I know, Denise, you have a massive company that you work for. So I don't know how you guys take that over there with being, under the corporate umbrella, but love to hear from you on that.
Yeah. Oh, me first.
Yeah, you first. Go.
We do work under a large parent company umbrella, and we do inherit their cultural views. And culture is very strong in our environment too, whereas when we have an onboarding, our new team members spend 3 days learning about our culture, and we have entire books printed on our culture. Not only the way that we want to treat our external clients, but the way that we want to treat our internal clients and our peers as well, to make sure that we have a safe environment, an environment that fosters growth and support within and across all of our family of company organizations. Culture is definitely at the core of who we are as an organization. And I see that reflected in so many ways, in ways that, again, we treat one another. Fun events that we do for our organization are recognition programs where you can recognize peers and get points and cash those in for rewards. And just the overall immersion program where they learn about the entire company culture is what drives the root of who we are as an organization at our core. I think culture is definitely one of the highest impact things you can have within an organization, not just who we are as a company, but the type of people that you have working with you as a company is a direct reflection of that as well.
Yeah, I would agree. One of the things that's really stuck with me since starting at RCS was Esther telling me in the beginning, like, you might have a great client that might be, perfect for a prospect, but if they don't match the culture that you're putting out there, you're not going to get along with them. So what's the point of even doing business? And I think the same goes with people in your group, in your community, in your workspace. And that's why you kind of gravitate towards each other, because you find like, we can talk together, we can bounce referrals off of each other, we can do whatever, but it's building that culture and that community. So in that aspect,
Sure.
Yael, this is a perfect time for you to talk about your community within.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Tell me a
before
little bit about your community, what you've built, what you're looking to build. I'd love to just hear you speak on it.
For sure. So before I jump into that, I did want to say that I think with culture, core values go hand in hand with that, right? So, for example, the company that I currently work at, Gray Matter Networks, one of their core values is integrity, transparency, loyalty, right? So it's very important, as you mentioned, to work with a team and to be in an environment that shares similar culture / core values as you, right? So back to Femmes in STEM. Basically with Femmes in STEM, as I mentioned, it's a publication and community that features women entrepreneurs in the science, tech, engineering, and math fields. It's part of a more comprehensive vision that I have in mind to one day open up a nonprofit organization to help empower high school girls, college girls, women at every stage of their career that are entering a STEM field, and offer them coaching and mentorship support. Now, I'm all about the power of community. And, as I mentioned in the beginning, through my own community, I met Esther, and through meeting Esther, I found this opportunity with Gray Matter Networks. So it really community is a very powerful thing. And on the topic of mentorship, I would like to say, my inspiration for building Femmes in STEM came through my sister's journey. So when she graduated high school, she was looking for internship opportunities in cybersecurity. And at the time, I had, essentially helped her find and land an internship at a data center in Deerfield Beach in Florida. And during her process of landing that internship, I was essentially there to coach her and mentor her on how to talk to the hiring manager, how to, put your LinkedIn together so you're set up for success. So all those things combined, like I said, through her journey kind of made me have this realization and a aha moment that things like this are very much lacking for, women from the second, I would say even starting in high school, right? From the second they finish high school to the second they start college, I think that some of their pain points are, well, for example, with my sister, she's a computer science major at Tufts University. One of the pain points I would say would be maybe lack of resources. Am I going to, be a programmer my entire life? What are my options in this career? Who can I connect with, in industry to essentially show me the way, or, who can I ask questions to, right? So basically my goal with Femmes in STEM is to connect today's thought leaders with the leaders of tomorrow. And the leaders of tomorrow are the high school students, the college students, women like us or like me that's, entering a STEM field or is already in a STEM field and is looking for that coaching and mentorship support to essentially level up and grow from where we are right now. So that's basically it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will get into mentorship programs because I want to spend some time on that. Chloe, I know you can speak a little bit on your experience with mentorship as a mentee. I'd love to hear your sort of background, your thoughts on mentorship, how it's progressed you throughout your career, and we can just go from there because I have a follow-up question.
Sure. Yeah. So I have found my own mentors to be so helpful in my career just over the past few years. And I've had different mentors in different, parts of my career and different roles. So when I started, it was very much Esther. She was my mentor, helping me on different things, vouching for me, supporting me. And then it changed to be different people. I did procurement here at RCS for a while. So I had another person that I kind of looked to that was higher up than me that I saw as a mentor, and I kind of followed their guidance. And it ended up being sort of a toxic situation, and it wasn't great. So I think, and now Norman is very much my mentor, who works here at RCS, and he's wonderful and supportive and wants to see me grow and is constantly teaching me new things, and we're always learning together. So I think when you're looking for a mentor and when you're discovering who that might be and who you could be a mentee to, make sure that it fits both ways, that you're a good fit for your mentor and vice versa. Make sure that they're really looking out for you, because I think when I was first starting my career and I was young and really naive, I was like, anyone higher up is, there to support me, and which for the most part, if you've got a good company that you work for and if there's a good culture, you won't really find that to be the case, but it's just a good thing to remember. And I think a mentor is honestly one of the biggest things that could change your career and help you grow is someone supporting and vouching for you.
I think that's a great topic, if I may.
Yeah.
So also for those people just starting out that are looking for mentors, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in your direct business area either. I had somebody reach out to me within our business area, but not within her team, as another woman in technology, asking if I would mentor. So we meet for lunch every week and we talk about her challenges and how she can work to overcome those and her next steps with her career progression and suggestions. But if you feel like you don't have a mentor and that is something that you are lacking in your career development, don't be afraid to reach out to other people within your organization and ask for that mentorship. I can almost guarantee they will be very flattered and that they would love to help you in your career progression. So anybody that feels like they're lacking that, definitely reach out and ask for that support. That really goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yael, part of Femmes in STEM, that major part of it is mentorship. Are there programs that either you are familiar with or you're involved with that, I don't know, say like someone's really afraid to take that step and ask someone, I would really love to utilize your time and your expertise for you to be my mentor. Let's do baby steps. What are some of the like programs and sponsorships? I feel like you're very much in the circle to know like where would I look if that was something that I was interested in?
So I think the question is also like, which path are you looking to take? Are you going down the path of, let's just say, cybersecurity? Do you want to be a software engineer? Do you want to go in the direction of consulting or finance, right? Once you hone in on your what I'm interested in doing, the sky's the limit. Like you have boot camps, you have certifications that you can, essentially sign up for. You have different programs that, are like boot camps, like they're like a hybrid model and things like that. So I think the first step is really defining what it is you're looking to do. And then from there, look up different, like I said, boot camps and things like that, or, reach out to your network on LinkedIn, reach out to people who are currently working and pursuing careers in that line of work. So if part of it also, and I'm going to go back, and I'm sorry I keep bringing up my sister into the conversation, but just as an example, so she was the co-president at for a student organization at Tufts, to meet at Tufts. And this past semester, as a result of her being co-president, I had partnered up with To Meet at Tufts to help them organize a speaker series this semester. Now, through that, I think it's also very powerful because students have the opportunity to really connect with thought leaders, right? And establish those connections and expand their network, expand their community, and be able to reach out to, women in industry that can essentially take them under their wing, and kind of show them the way. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. The sky's the limit, and it's just a matter of, understanding what direction you want to go towards. So yeah.
And before we hopped on this, we were talking about it internally, but I think it proves the point to Chloe's story that like male figures in your life or mentors are not it's not a bad word. It's easy to do. If that's something you're like, oh, he has a lot to offer me and he works with me, he can help my growth here. I think like male allyship, which is something that comes with that culture, that like helping each other, networking with each other, that sort of culture that a company builds, that male allyship should be there in place if everything's working accordingly. So yeah, not just, yeah.
Absolutely. I do think, however, there is a lot to say for women, coming together as part of a community and supporting one another, right? Like it's not easy out there. And yes, absolutely, we should, have male mentors as well. But I think, the fact that there are communities of women that are out there to help support one another, that's very powerful, because I feel like a lot of times, when we're in an environment with other men, we might not feel as comfortable to vocalize our opinions or say certain things or talk about certain topics, right? Like another example I can give is, for example, last Friday, one of the women in my community, she does every second Friday of the month, she does like a virtual group coaching session. And one of the topics was entrepreneurial overwhelm. Now, if you get on a call like that with your male colleagues, the conversation I'm sure would be very interesting, but I can definitely tell you that, at least for myself and the colleagues of mine from Gray Matter Networks, the Fems in STEM from the company that I'm at, when we all participated in that kind of group discussion, it was very, very empowering. And, I felt like everyone could open up and speak freely and not so much like hide behind their screen or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that, I guess we can kind of transition to about retention and advancement within the field. And everyone here, everyone's high up in their industry, their field. Like Denise, you're a director of technology, Esther, the senior manager, like everyone knows you and goes to you when they have a question. In your mind, I guess, what industries have you observed, or even if there's like departments, you don't have to name names, within your field, you recognize like there really could be a push in hiring more women, either starting, at the bottom or all the way to the top?
I think technology is growing with more women moving into that career field. But historically, over my 20-year technology career, I've definitely seen an imbalance between women in technology versus men in technology. And that's not necessarily to say it's a hiring practice. I know organizations, especially these days, are extremely conscientious, about their hiring practices. It's just where is that interest? Where is that stemming from? Where does that grow from? And how can we encourage women to be interested in technology and grow in technology? And I don't necessarily know when where that starts, when or where that starts. It's very much, I think the engineering field is also one of those fields that is male heavy as well, where we see an increased footprint with women entering that career field.
So I come from a social work background, as I mentioned. So I studied social work for grad school, and I found that social work and nursing are very, very, very female dominated. And that was very interesting for me. And I also learned to see the need for more male social workers. And it's funny because the other day I was at dinner with some friends, both male and female, and somehow it came up, the tech and women in tech conversation. It's definitely something I'm passionate about, obviously. And at one point, my friend's boyfriend said, he's a teacher. And he said, as soon as he meets people, the first thing they say is like, oh, do you work in tech or in other field? I don't remember what field he used, but it wasn't teaching. And then when he says, no, I work in teaching, they go, oh, sorry, like, what's your real goal or what's your, future? And I never had thought of it from that perspective. And he said, like, I'm a teacher by choice. I love it. I love the kids I work with, and I would never do anything different. And he said, nobody ever thinks that it's something that he wants to do. And if it is, they think it's weird. And so just to kind of hear it and recognize that, it's not only our experience, but every experience is definitely different and unique and deserves to be, recognized. And I think just, people need to be aware of it and just try not to judge or make assumptions in any case, no matter who you're talking to. And the best way to know, how a person sees or where they want to be is just ask them before you tell them, where they should be or not be. So, and I think we really need, both men and women obviously have a unique role to play. And both Chloe and I have had amazing mentors that are male and female, especially at RCS. I was with Norman too for many years, and Norman's amazing, Jeff's amazing. And I think that, the goal is just to work together and to see what everybody's strengths are and how we could use that to the benefit of everybody. And also recognizing that we need to have both, that one without the other isn't necessarily as good as having that diversity. So it was something that from day one, I think Jeff and RCS really, and probably Chloe and Morgan, you can say the same thing. I always felt like I was appreciated and that they realized this, and it translated into, even the service delivery. They always put people first and always recognized that different perspectives would elevate the team. And I think that's also something, if I could just say, that RCS always did and does very, very well, is really give people opportunity to take on leadership roles. And you could see, like, both Chloe and I, and possibly even Morgan, came from different backgrounds and not necessarily were the ideal fit on a resume for a technology role. And yet we all got a chance to shine, and we're constantly pushed and promoted, maybe outside our comfort zones, by great leadership. And that is why we are where we are today. And and you feel that, and you can't fake that. It has to be authentic. It has to come from the top. And I think, we were all lucky to see it in action and how amazing it is. And the result, like the ramifications of that. I mean, even Yael getting her job, right, came through me, but really came through the opportunities I was given and my leadership, and the ripple effects are tremendous. So both financially, it's lucrative, but it's also just like a way of life and a outlook. And Morgan, you spoke to it earlier too, like saying, certain clients, the right people will find you, and the rest are going to fall out on their own. Like, don't worry about that. As long as you're doing what's right and looking for the right opportunities and not settling for the wrong people, the rest will follow. So just seeing everybody as collaborators and not competitors. I say it a lot, but I'm very passionate about that. And same with Yael and I, like, technically, we both run networking groups out here. We both run events, and like theoretically we compete, but we don't. Like, we work so much better together, and we each get so much more done by collaborating. So always look to lift up people. I know everyone on this call does it so well, but you're just all so much better off for it and so much happier too, So it's like a win-win.
And on that, I can kind of jump into, so it's really funny that, like, the three of us who have experience here at RCS, like, all come from a very, very different background. Denise and Yael, you kind of been in that space for a little bit, but like, this industry finds you. It just finds you, even if your background doesn't match up to it. So and Yael, you probably can talk a little bit more about this. What can we do to encourage, like, younger girls and even older women to just say, like, I may not have the experience, but I think my skills are translatable. What sort of, I don't know, how do we encourage them to get involved in more skills like this? Thanks, Jen.
Sorry,
good-
Jeff, we're
yeah.
sad you're not on live, but just being truthful here. So
No boys allowed. No boys allowed.
we would have made an exception for Jeff, but
Yeah.
Sorry, Morgan, can you repeat it? Was it?
Yeah. Going off kind of the experience of this group in our own right, like kind of falling into the career we've had, and now we are a champion of, you know, women in our field to be like, yeah, you should apply for that job. You should ask for the mentorship. You should do everything you need that will help you find this community and succeed and advance your career. With like Femmes in STEM, what are you doing to encourage girls or even adult women to pursue careers in STEM fields and technology? Like, even if, say, their background doesn't match, they may not get that job. Like, what do you tell them?
So I can tell you what I do every month is I organize monthly meetups where I get like a guest speaker to come talk about, you know, their experience, their journey, you know, the challenges and opportunities that they went through, you know, because at the end of the day, if they can speak to that, then it opens up a safe space to relate to, right? So that's one of the things that I do just with the monthly meetups and, you know, events where we can have these more intimate conversations and really like ask these questions and really be there for one another. You know, when you have a table with like 6 to 8 women, right, that, you know, are not just like hearing someone else's journey, but also contributing to the conversation and asking the right questions, all of a sudden you know, it does something to your confidence, right? And it also maybe sparks an interest. Like I would say, for example, my 3 pillars for Femmes in STEM are community, connection, and inspiration. And, you know, so we talked about the power of community. We talked about, you know, connections within the community, right? And then also the inspiration that reignites or ignites just by having a conversation with someone that you just met, right? So yeah, I hope that answered your question, but basically it's, you know, just putting yourself out there, having the desire to grow and to learn and, you know, to level up and kind of find those communities that will allow you to get from where you are to where you want to be.
If I can jump in, just kind of from my own experience, like everyone was saying, Morgan, you were saying, me, you, and Esther don't come from a technical background. So I guess if you're in college, yeah, it'd be great to do something in a technical field. And I would have loved to have done that. But you see, you know, the technology department, it's still all men. You don't really want to, it's uncomfortable. It's just like, business in the workplace, but it's never too late to try and transition into a technical field if that's something you're interested in doing. There's so many certifications now that you can do to improve your own skills and knowledge, and also just feel more confident when you're going to apply for roles or internships or anything like that. There's so much out there that you can do, and certifications I've taken throughout being at RCS that have made me feel so much more confident when working with the technicians or clients. I just feel better about myself when I have a little title that says, okay, I've completed this. It gives you a lot of confidence, and those are pretty readily available for people to take.
For sure. And I also think, to quarterback on what you were saying, Chloe, I think, you know, another thing that these girls or women at every stage of their career can look into is, you know, certification programs or workshops or, you know, whatever it may be to, like, you know, improve public speaking skills, or, you know, because public speaking isn't just what we're doing right now. It's also getting that confidence to present in front of your colleagues, or getting that confidence to, you know, pitch a presentation or pitch your startup idea to investors, right? So really, like, looking for opportunities to grow, not just in terms of like the technical skills of what you need to know to get to where you want to be, but really like also public speaking, or, you know, find like a career coach, or find like a life coach, or, you know, step outside of your comfort zone and be a part of a public speaking workshop. So like I can tell you this is my first webinar, and I don't know if anyone can tell, but I'm super nervous, and I think I would have benefited from a public speaking workshop, but there's always room for growth. So yeah, that's also.
If I could just say too, yeah, like that's another thing I think that all of us have in common, and I'd say it's a piece of advice too, like don't wait till you're ready. I think so many women, especially, I don't know why we're so afraid to do things that everybody does things that they have no clue what they're doing. Just some of us, we let it stop us. And like, kudos to you, Al. You cannot tell at all you're nervous, but like, it doesn't matter. Like fear is it's just like something you feel. It's what you do because you feel that matters. So don't not do the thing because you're afraid. Like all of us have been in situations where we weren't necessarily qualified or fit the right thing on paper, but we're all here because we made a choice to act anyway. So I think the key is just to keep doing, and then you'll become that person, or surround yourself with the people who are there already, and you will, even if you do nothing, by osmosis. And back to Yael and saying like surrounding yourself with the right people, like they'll rub off on you.
And not just that. And sorry to cut you off, Esther. So another thing I think is super helpful. Like I think people don't realize. Some might disagree with me, but I think that we need to like get comfortable with being vulnerable in the workplace, right? We need to get comfortable with saying, hey, like I don't know how to do that. Can you show me? Or we need to get comfortable with being around a table of 6 to 8 women, for example, and say, hey, this is my ask. This is what I'm looking for. Like I'm going to throw it out into the universe. Let's see who I know here that can kind of, lead me in the right direction. And part of what I do during these meetups is, I have goodie bags for everyone that shows up. And inside the goodie bag, I have like a Femmes in STEM branded notepad where I have everyone, kind of write down their goals for the upcoming month, for the upcoming year, what they're looking to gain out of the meetup. And then from there, that's how the conversations start to happen, and they happen organically. And, it's just a beautiful thing. Sorry, I totally missed that note that just popped up.
It's telling you that you're wonderful. That's all.
Appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you.
Sorry. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And you brought up something that I would like, it's kind of a pivot a little bit, but it's something I do want to bring up. That vulnerability in the workplace is so important. And I think women, more so than men, but not exclusively to women, have really been pushing work-life balance. Like that's important. I might need a mental health day. Like as a woman in business, I have found myself up until about this year, like I don't say no to people because I don't want to come across that I can't do something or I'm overwhelmed. Right. So that's something that I've had to learn recently. I don't know, maybe Denise, since you kind of work for like more of a corporate conglomerate, I don't know if that's something you've noticed in your workplace at all, men or women, like anyone that you've noticed there.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. I'm going to circle back to what Esther said earlier about how she noticed a large amount of women in social work and nursing. And I noted those are both very nurturing careers. And as women, I think we are very natural and very skilled at nurturing. And I went to an interview a long time ago for a leadership role, and the gentleman, the hiring manager that was interviewing me, said he actually prefers women for leadership because of their natural skill with leadership and development and empathy, and the way that builds a team. And I think as women, we're naturally just a little bit more vulnerable, and I think we hold that back because we don't want to be seen as emotional versus vulnerable. But I think being able to balance that and lead a team and be able to emphasize and laugh with your team, and at times cry with your team and celebrate with your team and struggle with your team, that is the way that you build high performing teams. I think it's extremely important to be able to relate to one another on an emotional level, and not just from a leadership direct report level. There's more to it than that.
I love that you're saying that, Denise, because I had an interesting perspective. I actually was attracted to the fact that it was a more male dominated industry because I came from a social work not-for-profit background, and I love like getting people's insights and opinions and emotion, but I often felt in my previous roles before RCS that a lot of times it detracted from our agenda or goal, and much to a fault. Like, it's something that I work on, but I feel like I'm a very like action oriented. I don't want to spend time talking about things if I can't impact it. I just want to be changing it or moving on. And so I think, and that's back to what I was saying before of like, I think both sort of qualities and types of people have a place. And if we could actually some of us that are maybe a little bit more, and speak for myself, rash, and some of us that maybe are more emotional, or however you want to say that, could just it's about knowing who you are and what your strengths are, and then bringing those together so that the team is stronger because of it. Like, I don't think one is bad or good, and both of those could be used in a good way. We just have to like notice it, be aware of it, or have a mentor or somebody in leadership share it with us, and then we could either pull it back or strengthen it in that environment. And also one of the things we did at RCS were these of course we have to mention the birds and the personality assessments, but it's not just enough to like know yourself, right? It's so much more, and we did so much work on like how we use that in situations and help the team with that. Like, isn't that what it's all about? Who cares what we have if we don't do anything with it? So I think there's something to be said for both. And so recognizing the strengths that people bring is part of our job as a leader. And back to you, Morgan and Chloe, like, I just was the catalyst for you taking the job, but you sold yourself. Like, I remember clearly after that interview, like, Chloe was like, she was dynamite from day one. I always said that, like, it was such an easy in, and like, I'm sure Jeff will back me on this, right? Like, it was like the best thing ever that happened to me and to RCS. So like, it's you brought that, and you knew who you are or who you are not, and then just looking for the places that sort of bring out those strengths is what's going to take you all the way. So I'm also very competitive, and I have to constantly like check myself and be like, I don't really care what anyone else is doing. Like, if my skill is to like, I don't know, jump off a building all the time, then like I should be a sky. Like, who cares like how weird that is? Like, I just want to be more me, and I think everybody should be more them, and like forget what like, and that's back to like being, collaborators. Like, there's things that I suck at, and even now the team I'm on, it's such a good balance because so many of the skills that other people around me have, and even my manager, are so different from what I have, and like I love that. It's like so hard and so amazing because we need each other. Like, I don't have that analytical or financial mind, and I'm sometimes big ideas, but if we could bridge that, like, I need that to be able to do what I do, to rein it in. So
that's like, just to jump off that, we learn about the birds at RCS and what kind of bird you are. It's basically a personality test. And I think when I started here, I joined and I was like, okay, technology, talk like a man, no exclamation points in emails, like, don't laugh, don't show any emotions whatsoever. And I think it hurt me. I think I was exhausted because I wasn't being myself. And in the long run, in meeting with clients and being able to be that in-between person for them, that these people don't know technology, they're uncomfortable with it, and some of our technicians are coming to them with so much information. They just want someone that cares for them and can speak Absolutely. To them. And sometimes technical people don't always understand that sort of communication. So I was able to learn what I was good at and a skill that could help me rather than hurt me. And then you do kind of realize that when women do have a lot of skill sets that maybe men don't always have, and you can really play into that and work with that to get where you want to go.
It's really funny because now that you said that, I think about, I only go to the women in this office, and like Esther, when she was still here and I was transitioning in, like, to ask questions where I'm like, a man would think I'm stupid if I ask that. I'm not going to ask it. They're going to give me an answer I don't want. So I've gotten out of that. But yeah, it's that vulnerability, right, in your communication style.
Yeah, and also I think it goes back to, being relatable at the end of the day, right? Like, working in sales, if I wasn't myself, and if I didn't add that exclamation point or make that comment or, jump on a call and like, be able to relate with the customer, then, that a sale might look completely different than if I was just, kind of like not really engaging in conversation or being myself. Right. So I also think there's a difference also with what you're currently doing in your position. And, I think maybe sometimes like there's more flexibility on that front, but generally speaking, I'm all for, bringing that sense of authenticity to your role and, really being yourself. And because at the end of the day, people, the customer is going to buy not just because of the product, but because of the experience that they're getting and also because of the person that they're connecting with, right? So that's
right on
why.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I'm not saying you don't need to have the technical expertise. And if you want technical expertise and good relationships, call RCS. But if you only have a technical skills, you're screwed. If you have only the empathy, you might have fighting chance. You're going to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I mean,
you can teach hard skills. Soft skills are difficult.
Soft skills are very difficult.
Yeah.
Also hard to realize what you're really good at because you might be insecure about it and oh no, that's actually a very good skill to have for people. So we're kind of rounding out towards the end. So I do have a few more questions I just kind of want to hear, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. One thing that I would just love to hear from all of you is what advice would you give to your younger self what's some advice you would give as you're starting your career, as you're thinking about your career, you're in school, what would you say?
I would say don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone, because the best things in life sometimes happen outside of your comfort zone. Like if you can, really push yourself, then that's where the magic happens, essentially. So, yeah.
For me, it's been to embrace difficult feedback. We've all received feedback in our careers that maybe we weren't particularly fond of, but I have found those leaders and or mentors that are actually taking the time to have those difficult and uncomfortable conversations with you. They're the ones that are most invested in your growth and development. They're not the avoidance type. They're meeting it heads on. They're giving you that hard feedback that you need. So instead of being maybe a little put off by it, take the time to process that and embrace and appreciate that feedback.
I guess mine would be, first, it's okay to be uncomfortable, especially if you're in a job that maybe you're trying to learn the ropes and you're just starting and you just feel kind of uncomfortable at the beginning. That's okay, because you're learning. And I think I would also say to ask for what you want. I think that's a big thing that women have a hard time doing in all aspects of your career and education, is just ask for what you want and do whatever it takes to get there. But put it out into the world and the universe and say, hey, I want this. Help me. How do I get to that goal?
I'd probably say no more often, so you could say yes to a bigger yes.
That's a good one.
I'm writing that down. That's a very good line. I'm going to keep that one close to me. And then what does your future outlook look like for, I guess, women, not only in leadership positions, but getting into the tech field and your specific fields? Do you have any closing words that might lend to any woman who's listening, any girl who wants to get into tech?
I think it's kind of a culmination of everything that we've talked about today, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Don't let a male-dominated industry deter you from doing what you've dreamt about doing or you want to try doing. Say yes and give it a try. Find that mentor. Long-term, you'll be happier picking your preferred career choice rather than picking something that you think somebody else will be more comfortable with than you.
Yeah. And I also think, being proactive in your desire to level up, whether it's through the public speaking, workshops, or through different boot camps or certification programs, or through, finding a community that you connect with, that you can, really open up and feel comfortable and really be your authentic self. So that's it.
All right, so I will go ahead and open it up for Q&A. People can join live and hop in and just give a shout out if that's something they want to do. But
hi, David. You're such a big part of our story. The good that keeps on giving.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
he's too nice to fire
I
anyone.
knew he would come on here. I knew it. I knew it.
Shout out to Joe Rojas as well. We got to shout out Joe Rojas who connected me
Thank you,
to David and David to
While we're waiting, if any more questions come in, is there anything coming up that you guys want to talk about, promote? If you have any space for any more women to join you at any of your networking events, your groups, your mentorship, seminars, whatever you're hosting, would love to hear about it.
I could share. So I have a networking event out here that actually started while I was with RCS called Sunset Social. So we meet once a quarter. It's not just women, but it's fantastic just to bring business people together. And RCS has an amazing one called In This Together Roundtable as well that I recommend everyone check out. It's virtual and you can join from anywhere. And speaking of good leadership, they have much. So definitely check that out. There you go. There's the link. And then I'll also say I actually got the opportunity to write a book on networking and self-awareness that's on Amazon. So if you get a chance to check it out or read it, I'd love to get feedback on that too.
Awesome. Yeah. Yael, do you have anything coming up with Femmes in STEM that's helpful for anyone to know?
So I'm actually organizing a meetup for July in celebration of my 1-year anniversary of Femmes in STEM Miami. I have, yes, David, I told them. I have different communities. I have Miami, New York, Tel Aviv, global community as well. If anyone's interested in joining, please let me know. I will send the link over here in a second if you're interested. So yeah, July meetup is coming up. Stay tuned.
Denise, are you opening up your mentorship calendar for anyone to jump in? Because I will submit mine.
That'd be great. Come on, Morgan. We'll just do it over a happy hour. That's fine.
I would love that.
I think absolutely always open and willing to talk to people about career pathing and development and mentorship. We were speaking about ways that we can support women back in university days. One of my business instructors actually said how great I would be at mentoring one of his high school students' class. And at that time, I felt like, what do they call it? Impersonator syndrome. I wasn't there yet. But things like that pop up are fantastic opportunities to support women coming into the industry. So I'm always open now, feeling more comfortable and confident in my career pathing and experience, looking for those opportunities. But no, I don't have any additional roundtables coming up. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak with RCS and the other women today. It was such a great time, very insightful.
Yeah, Chloe, do you have anything? Or are you busy with being a one-person team?
Busy, yeah, with the technical stuff. I guess I would say I don't have anything personally going on, but I've seen a lot of stuff on LinkedIn recently, especially as people are trying to transition into tech positions. I've seen a lot of cool things that Esther's posted before. So I would definitely always look on there. I try to repost as much as possible.
Yeah, I need to be better at that myself.
Actually, Chloe, you reminded me too. Yael and I both have groups to help people find jobs in tech and otherwise. So reach out as well if you want to, get in on that.
Yeah, add more women.
I'm putting all this information up because it's so valuable to literally everyone. Denise, I will not put your email up, but if anyone reaches out besides me, I'll send them over. All right. So with that, I guess if we don't have any more questions, we can kind of close it out. I will mention on the RCS side, we do have upcoming events. July 11th, there's fish and business themes. You don't have to like fish. So sorry, Jeff, I don't like fish, but it's nice to get together. It's another networking event where you can meet people. We also have a webinar coming August 13th, Streamline Employee Onboarding and Tips for a Seamless Start. And I think it's an important conversation to talk to kind of in that culture and understanding a good onboarding program, which is a make or break for a lot of people starting a job that might be a good job or not. So I'll put all of those up. I'll put the link to everyone's pages, their websites, their events, anything else that might be outstanding. And we will do this again. We have to do this again. But I thank you all so much for coming and giving your insights and your background, your expertise. This has been phenomenal.
Thank you, Morgan and Alex, for
Thank
coordinating.
you.
Thank
And
you.
Norman and Jeff, we miss you.
Yeah.
No.
We want a round two with the men.
Yeah, we'll do it with them
Male
next time.
allies.
They bring. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And this will be up on YouTube. So if you missed it, there's always a chance to go back and watch. So we will have that up soon. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.